Hello, everybody. All right. Welcome to the Mikestand. Today, of course, is um, Tuesday, January the 27th, 2026. Of course, we're going to give people a chance to come in before we get started. If you haven't already, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. With that being said, as I said, we're just going to give people a chance to come in before we get started here. I'm hoping everybody's having a good week thus far. Of course, we're in the last week of January here, and then we'll be into February next week. So we're just about done with the first month of 2026. Hopefully, everybody's had a good month thus far. I know that in a good chunk of the United States, particularly from what I understand, in the south and eastern parts of the country, they're being hit pretty hard with that winter storm. So hopefully, everybody's being safe on the roads as they're traveling. I know some people's travel plans have been a little bit altered due to the fact of the weather situations. So hopefully everybody's being safe in that regard. Let's see. Yeah. So with that, let's see now. La 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 la. And again, a friendly reminder, of course, if you guys haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So let's see. We're now at 2 minutes 40. Oh yeah, that might be a little early, but I'll go ahead and start talking about what's on tap for tonight. So I do have one article I'm going to go over. Comics related article from Bounding into Comics, as talking about how Marvel Comics has just 7 issues on 2025's top 25, only places thanks to crossovers and relaunches. So basically, the only things that Marvel apparently in terms of sales numbers and units sold, apparently the only way they can get anything sold or of any significance is by crossing over with other companies. There's been a lot of criticism towards Marvel in terms of their editorial approach of late, last few years here. So we'll look at that. We'll also get caught up in all the latest in the world of pro wrestling. We'll look back to last night's Monday Night Raw. Look ahead to tonight's NXT, as well as, of course, possibly look ahead to this Saturday's Royal Rumble over in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Then, of course, we'll wrap things up with this day in each history. Look back on some of the stuff of the past. So, and as I said, one last time here before we get started. If you haven't already, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here anything we talk about here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. That goes for both my Rumble viewers and my YouTube viewers. Let's see now. With that being said, why don't we go ahead and get started here then? All right, so let me pull up the article we're going to go over tonight. And of course, here it is, right here. Here's the article I'm going to start out with. We're going to talk about tonight. Marvel Comics has just 7 issues on 2025's top 50. So only 14%. So yeah, top 50, not top 25. So that was my mistake. But that's only 14% of the total possible spot. Only places thanks to crossovers and relaunches. Article by Spencer Bacouli published yesterday, the 26th, January 26th. So let's go ahead and take a look here. We got the Punisher finds himself cornered by the Absolute Batman on Nick Dragotta's variant cover to Batman Deadpool, Volume 1, Number 1, 2025. All right, so let's see what's going on here. While the general consensus agrees that Marvel Comics' efforts have been particularly rough in recent years, it's unlikely that anyone could have predicted just how dire the situation really is. With the final sales numbers for 2025 having revealed that the Spider-Man and X-Men publisher produced just 7 of the year's top 50 best-selling issues. Now, granted, depending, sometimes that may not necessarily be a bad. It depends upon how many publishers are actively competing, right? So, of course, you'd think that, okay, so how many major, I think there's like what? At least 6 or maybe 5, 6 or 7 major. So we got DC, Marvel, Image, Dark Horse, IDW, Archie. So that's like 6 right there. And that's just, major. That's obviously just the major, major companies. We're not talking about maybe some of the like second or third tier companies that might still be around, or independent sales. I don't know if independent sales are even being looked into that, but I could see possibly just with the name recognition and the let's say the backing, I could see maybe like Eric July and or Ethan Van Sciver getting up in there with their more independent works, or Mike Barron, or some of the bigger names in comics who've gone the independent route in recent years. Just on name recognition alone. So, but anyways, let's see more of what's going on here. Of course, there's a cover from the Deadpool Batman. The Caped Crusader and the Crimson Comedian descend upon Gotham on Assad Ribich's variant cover to Deadpool Batman Volume 1, Number 1, 2025. So, since the turn of the calendar, it has been made abundantly clear that 2025 was less than stellar for Marvel, as seen in the aggregated and annual point of sales data reports, seeing just one of their trade paperbacks, the first of their Earth 6160 Ultimate Spider-Man series, being caught up in the Christmas rush, and only a single issue, their Deadpool Batman crossover with DC, appearing among the year's top 9 best-selling single issues. Ouch. But it was not until industry news outlet ICV2 published their top 50 full year 2025 sales rankings as complied based on numbers by in quote over 125 stores, unquote, to the American comic book specific Comic Hub point of sale tracking system, at the full extent of Marvel's underperformance, in parentheses, and that's being generous, on parentheses, would come to light. So, I'm going to go off camera here for a quick moment before we get into the rest of this. But I will put some music on to entertain you guys while I'm gone. I'll be right back here. Let me just do this real quick. All right, sorry about that. Anyways, let's get back to the articles at hand here. So I do that. As mentioned above, said data shows the publisher produced only 7 of the year's top 50 books by unit, with their listed by rank winners including number 1, Deadpool Batman Volume 1, number 1. Number 22, Ultimate Wolverine Volume 1, number 1. Number 25, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 7, number 1. You see a lot of number 1 issues here, so I think, as to their point about the whole idea of the relaunches, I guess. Number 32, One World Under Doom, Volume 1, number 1. Godzilla vs. Spider-Man, Volume 1, number 1. Also with the crossovers, Godzilla vs. Spider-Man, Deadpool, Batman. Number 46, Marvel Rivals, Volume 1, number 1. Number 47, Ultimate Spider-Man, Volume 3, number 16. And Fantastic Four, Volume 8, number 1. And then here is the... and this is basically by units, I believe, which means this is basically based on the most units sold. So the one, I guess, I think, saving grace is that the Deadpool Batman crossover, one-shot crossover, did sell the most units. So, and then of course, DC's half of that project, Batman Deadpool number 1, one shot, ended up being at number 3. And of course, probably the reason Marvel was able to sell more units because they apparently sold for $1 less. So you get the Marvel DC crossover, one shot crossover for $6.99, the DC Marvel crossover $7.99. And you have a couple of you have an image in number 4 with Invincible's universe, Battle Beast number 1. You have a bunch of DCs. In terms of, now this is all based on units sold, of course, and then and then 22 and 25 you have, of course, Ultimate Wolverine number 1 from Marvel Comics and Amazing Spider-Man number 1. Then at number 32, of course, One World Under Doom number 1. 42, Godzilla vs. Spider-Man, and then You do have 3 in a row here, 46 through 48, with Marvel Rivals number 1, Ultimate Spider-Man number 16, and Fantastic Four number 1. In addition to the drastically low numbers of entries, because based on all that, it looks like DC pretty much dominated the charts there. Because I'll back up there for a moment. Let's go through this one more time. I just look and see here. Yeah, you have one image. Aside from the Marvel stuff, let's see, one image, one Keensport entry, Mark Spears Monsters, the Monster and the Wolf number 1. So yeah, one I guess would be an independent publication. So aside from Keensport Ent and and Image Comics and the 7 from Marvel here, DC Comics basically dominated the top in terms of units sold. That means number of books sold, I believe. So, right. Let's see if anybody's come on yet. No. All right. In addition to the drastically low number of entries, what makes these results especially devastating is the fact that all but one of Marvel's bestsellers were either crossovers, Deadpool, Batman, Godzilla vs. Spider-Man series. Let's see. All but one were either crossovers, series relaunches, Amazing Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, or significant debut issues with relevance to larger events, Ultimate Wolverine, One World Under Doom, Marvel Rivals. As such, Ultimate Spider-Man, Volume 3, Number 16, which tells the backstory to Earth 6160's Gwen Stacy and how she came to be a member of the Mysterio clan, stands as the only, in smaller quotes, regular Marvel issue to make significant waves in 2025. So, yeah, I noticed that too. That was like the only one where it wasn't a number 1. It wasn't, as they said here, either a crossover, a series relaunch, or a significant debut issue that led to a larger storyline. Admittingly, number 1s and crossovers did help DC to establish their near total sales dominance, but this was in addition to various standard issues in their Absolute book also made the charts, such as Absolute Wonder Woman Volume 1, numbers 4 through 6, and all thus far 15 issues of Absolute Batman Volume 1. Well, Batman has always been a hot seller for DC. I mean, Batman's just a very popular character, that stands the test of time, as it were. As we, of course, continue on here. Unfortunately for Marvel, the results are only marginally better when measuring the top 50 by dollars, and even then are still predicated on significant issues. So ICV2 will measure it, but with two metrics here. One is by units sold, which means basically the total number of books sold, and then by total dollars earned. This is the other one. So you got at number one, once again, Deadpool Batman Volume 1, number one is the number one seller in terms of dollar sales, 12 units sold. Number 13, Ultimate Wolverine Volume 1, number one. Number 18, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, number 7. Number 28, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, number 11, in parentheses, as featuring the debut of the Web Slinger's new Techno-Arachnid suit, on parentheses. Number 29, One World Under Doom, Volume 1, number 1. Number 37, Captain America, Volume 14, number 1. Number 38, Ultimate Spider-Man, Incursion, Volume 1, number 1. Number 43, Imperial, number 1. Number 45, Ultimate Endgame, Volume 1, number 1. And number 48, Godzilla versus Spider-Man, number 1, Volume 1. I wonder. I want to go back and check something there. Oh, no, let's see. No, not quite, but I was thinking for a moment there. Okay, yeah, 42 on the other one, but 40 in total sales dollars. So, alrighty then. So, and then here, of course, are the, you know, and again, of course, it looks like DC had dominated the sales chart in this realm as well. Marvel getting a handful of titles up in there. They did at one point have 3 in a row there. And 2 in a row. So they had some that were linked a bit more together. But aside from DC and Marvel, only Image got a book in that list as well. Hey Natsumi, thanks for dropping in. Of course, if you haven't already, you can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, anyways, as we continue on with finish up this article here, taken alongside MCU's recent nosediving, the year's terrible comic book sales suggests that Marvel needs to do something to right their ship. And let's be honest, another X-Men line relaunch really isn't going to cut. And neither will another contrived season of Spider-Man Mary Jane drama. Unparentheses. Yeah, I don't really think unless they plan on bringing Spider-Man and Mary Jane back together permanently in the main Marvel universe. You're not gonna. That's not gonna help anything at all. So. Always done that every time I click on stream. Well, thank you for that. I always just do a friendly reminder for everybody, just in case, Well, anyways, now gonna go ahead and click this off click this part off for a moment, only because I didn't have anything else planned, but I still have a little time to stretch here a little bit. So there wasn't anything that caught my attention earlier. So now I'm gonna see if maybe anything news popped up since I. No, it doesn't look like it. Anything popped up new here? Let me see. Let me go check. Bleeding Fool. Well, I guess actually, let me try to check one other thing here. Check one other. You read that article. Okay, so let me Bleeding Fool then. Sometimes stuff will pop up after I've made my choices, and but there's been a lot of cases here, at least in January here, where there really hasn't been a lot of news coming up. News cycle has been a bit slow this month, and you would think there'd be a little bit more anime news because, of course, you know, I think it'd be a bit more anime news just in the fact that usually January is the start of the winter release season. In that regard. La 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 la. La 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 la. See that Park Place. Yeah, basically everything's still the same there as well. All right. Alrighty then. So yeah. Here we go. We got. Let's see. Usually, anime news is slow due to the Western media not being great at anime news. Yeah, I mean, well, if you think about it too, winter is usually January is usually the winter release season in Japan. That's when the stuff is being debuted in Japan. But of course, there still is and even though you had in more recent years with some of the Netflix and Crunchyroll stuff, with the simulcast, there's still a little bit of a hiccup, as it were. So I guess I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the wrestling wrap up, as there hasn't been, and again, there's not much I can find right now. I don't get excited with new anime these days. I prefer the pre 2010 stuff. Yeah, the older stuff is a lot of times better. I mean, not that Japanese creators themselves have not that Japanese creators themselves have gone woke, um but when you get the localizations, and you have people like Katrina Leonidakis, um you know just messing around with them, and Jamie Markey and all that, then it's like, okay, whatever. But anyways, so now, as I said, we're gonna move on to the wrestling wrap up. Of course, look back to last night's. We'll look back to last night's Monday Night Raw and look ahead to um, tonight's NXT as well. Let's see. Wokeness killed anime for the West. 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 There's a little limerick there, trying to put it to the 80s classic "Video Killed the Radio Star." Anyways. anyways, let's go and let's talk a bit about. Okay, so last night's Monday Night Raw, which came in the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Of course, the night opened up with AJ Styles and CM Punk in the ring. CM, basically having eventually setting up a match between the two for the WWE World Title later that night. But they were basically kind of congratulating each other and just harkening back to their careers together as they had parallel careers, both being involved in like Ring of Honor, at times. So, haha, I know that song. Yeah. So yeah. So basically they started off, kind of congratulating each other. There is a lot of talk that AJ will, in fact, be retiring this. That's the scuttlebutt, anyways. That AJ will indeed, retire at Royal Rumble this week, but it's not confirmed. Obviously, WWE is known for throwing a few curveballs into the mix, so I guess you just have to watch to find out if that is true or not. Anyways, but it's set up later, and also another segment that happened later in the night happened between Finn Balor and CM Punk, where backstage they had had a mutual showing of respect for each other, in which they had been teasing the idea, well, is he or isn't he, is Finn Balor or isn't he going to leave the Judgment Day and become a face, only for Liv Morgan to come back and remind him, hey, look, your only family here is the Judgment Day. So with that, and then then being told by Adam Pearce that the Royal Rumble was already full and therefore he would not be able to be in it. Things kind of turned sour his way, as it were. So, on to some of the matches. And the first match of the evening saw the three women's champions from Raw, W Women's Tag Team Champions, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, teaming with Stephanie Vaquer, the WWE Women's World Champion, defeating the trio of the Judgment Day of Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, and Raquel Rodriguez. As them building, of course, the feud between Vaquer and Rodriguez, as well as watching the Perez and Morgan pursue the tag titles, which would be kind of an interesting thing because basically, let's see, Morgan has held the women's tag titles on a number of occasions with Raquel Rodriguez, and then Roxanne Perez filled in for Liv during this last tag team title reign before that was dropped. There's also some other news. It looks like WWE might be interested in possibly bringing in New Japan Pro Wrestling's Evil. There's some talk going about that he might be coming to the WWE soon, but again, we'll have to wait see on that. And then Austin Theory defeated Rey Mysterio in a one-on-one match in which Austin Theory, of course, had the rest of the Vision in his corner, while Rey Mysterio had Dragon Lee and Penta in his corner. Couple little tidbits too. Prior to the match, of course, Braun Breaker and Adam Pearce had a face off in the ring, in which Adam Pearce apologized, realizing that he was the one who laid his hands on Braun Breaker first, not only apologizing to him and reinstating him on Raw, but also basically locking in him and basically all 4 members of the Vision in the Royal Rumble, which made, of course, Paul Heyman happy. His 4 guys all got in the Royal Rumble. So they were added to the Rumble. And there's been some criticism with all these people declaring for the Rumble already. Declaring for the Rumble already that that's got some fans upset because taking away the surprise, the thrill of the surprise, as it were. So, anyways, as we continue on with this, and then the number one contendership match, number one contendership 4-way match for the WWE World Tag Team titles to see who basically will next challenge the Usos for the WWE World Tag. Alpha Academy's Otis and Akira Tozawa defeated the teams of American-made of the Creed brothers, Brutus and Julius Creed, with Ivy Nile in their corner. Los Americanos, Bravo and Rayo Americano. And the New Day, the former world champions New Day of Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, who had Grayson Waller in their corner. And then the main event did see as I said, the WWE World Heavyweight title on the line as CM Punk retained over AJ Styles via DQ, as Finn Balor came in and attacked CM Punk, basically upset at the fact, that he didn't get into the Royal Rumble. Basically, a lot of people are saying that he felt like, okay, he tried to do things the right way, he tried to go face, and it just kind of backfired on him, so he decided to go right back to being a heel, basically, and attack CM Punk, and, ultimately gave Punk the win in his match against gave Punk the win against AJ Styles. So, but anyways, let's now take a look ahead to tonight's NXT, as of course, still some build up to next week's NXT show where they're going to crown a new NXT champion next week in a 6-way ladder match. Three members of the NXT roster have already been put into the match. Ricky Saints, Shiloh Hill, and Sean Legacy. Sean Legacy, the former Evolve champion, have all qualified for that ladder match for the NXT title that was vacated by Obafemi when he was drafted up to Raw, up to SmackDown, as it were. So tonight's NXT, now you'll have the other 3 contenders matches or other 3 qualifying matches for the 6-way ladder match on tonight's NXT, coming from the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, on the CW. The 3 qualifying matches include Joe Hendry taking on current Evolve champion Jackson Drake in a qualifying match. Have Andre Chase of Chase U taking on Keanu Carver, a qualifying match, and Miles Bourne taking on Dion Lennox, member of Dark State. As these 3 matches will have the winners of these 3 matches will be added to the 6-way ladder match for the NXT title on next week's NXT. And then the night is slated to open up with a women's match as Nikita Lyons will be taking on Jada Parker. And the main event, the Dark State duo of Osiris Griffin and Saquon Sugars will be defending the NXT Tag Team titles against Out of the Mud's Bronco Nima and Lucian Price. So that's all the stuff updated at least. And we still have some time here, so I guess I can go over. So what we'll do now, of course. So now leading into this Saturday's Royal Rumble event. So here's and the WWE stars already starting to head over there to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So this Saturday will be the Royal Rumble coming from the King Abdullah Financial District Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. They of course had built a stadium just for this event, believe it or not. So they'll be aired on ESPN live. 4 matches, of course, have been signed for this. AJ Styles is set to take on Gunther in a one-on-one match in which AJ Styles' career is on the line. So if AJ loses, he will have to retire from in ring. Gunther had a very on last night's Monday Night Raw. Gunther had a very splitting interview, a very agitated interview, as it were, basically pointing out that he's kind of tired of these old guys, having that final moment. Your reference to, of course, ending Goldberg's career as well as ending John Cena's career by making him tap out. He's looking to end AJ Styles' career right here as well. So this Saturday. Also signed, as a result of this past Friday of winning the 4-way match this past Friday, Sami Zayn has earned a shot at the undisputed WWE title held by Drew McIntyre. He'll be challenging McIntyre in Riyadh. For the undisputed title, and then you have the Royal Rumble matches. So already declared for the women's Royal Rumble are WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion Becky Lynch, Asuka, Bayley, Io Sky, Charlotte Flair, Jordynne Grace, Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, Chelsea Green, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Julia, Lyra Valkyria, Roxanne Perez, Lash Legend, Maxine Dupree with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think it's something like 13 people to still be 13 people to still be added. Now, it was announced on last night's Monday Night Raw, of course, that the men's field has already been filled, even though we don't know everybody who's been declared yet. But of those who have declared already, Rey Mysterio is declared. Now, Rey Mysterio looks like he may have got, during his match with Austin Theory last night, may have legitimately been hurt, as the referees were forced to execute the X sign, which is a sign that somebody's legitimately hurt. Looks like he may have hurt his shoulder. So whether or not that injury is going to indeed take him out of the Rumble match, we'll just be waiting to see there. Also in the men's match, of course, also having already declared for the Royal Rumble. And I forgot, of course, Julia is, of course, the current Women's United States champion in that. And then Io Sky and Rhea Ripley are the current tag team champions. Women's tag team. But also Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso has declared one half of the WWE World Tag Team Champions Roman Reigns is declared. Penta, Bronson Reed. We know all four members of the of the Vision, Bronson Reed, Austin Theory, Braun Breaker, and Logan Paul have all been declared for the Royal Rumble. You also have Jacob Fatu, who's declared for the Rumble already. Dragon Lee, Gunther. So Gunther may be looking to wrestle twice in the night. Solo Sikoa of the MFTs. Javon Evan, albeit Javon himself also got injured last week, so we don't know if he'll be ready for the Rumble or not. And Obafemi. So that's all we got for the wrestling wrap up. So now let's see. Last episode of Raw I watched, Stone Cold was heavyweight. Wow, that was long. That was like 20 years ago, man. That was like 20 years ago or so. Or no, 25 years ago, rather. Wow, that's a long time ago. So anyways, so now, of course, we're going to move on to, with today being, of course, Tuesday, with today being Tuesday, January the 27th, 2020, 2026. We're going to take a look back at this date in Nietzsche history. So, first off, we're going to head back 70 years ago, as on this date, 70 years ago today, back in 1956. The MGM short, the Tom and Jerry short, The Flying Sorceress, premiered on this date back in 1956, 70 years ago. Tom sees an advert wanting an intelligent cat as a travel companion. He leaves his home for his new job, only to find a creepy house occupied by a witch. Advertisement wanting an intelligent cat, the travel companion. Oh yeah, now I remember this one. Who wants a cat to take on broomstick rides? This is the first short where Joan's face is seen. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Produced in CinemaScope. So, anyway, so 70 years ago today, the Tom and Jerry cartoon, The Flying Sorceress, premiered on this date 70 years ago. So now we're going to move ahead 10 years. The year 1966, 60 years ago today. On this date, 60 years ago today, the 335th issue of Action Comics from DC went on sale on this date back in 1966. Had the Superman story, Luthor's first victory over Superman, and the first of two parts of the Supergirl story, The Prize of Peril. So 60 years ago today, the 335th issue of Action Comics went on sale on this date back in 1966. And now, as we move ahead 10 more years to 1976, 50 years ago today, on this date, 50 years ago today, back in 1956, I'm sorry, not 1976. I'm sorry, not 1956, 1976. On this date, 1976, 50 years ago today, Rufus R. Jones and Wahoo McDaniel defeated the Minnesota Wrecking Crew of Gene and Ole Anderson for the Mid-Atlantic version of the NWA World Tag Team titles in Columbia, South Carolina. This was at a time, of course, when the NWA did not have one set of unified World Tag Team titles to defend across the entire NWA. Many territories, Mid-Atlantic being one of them, had their own version of the World Tag Team titles that they defended within their territories. You also had World Tag Team titles in, of course, Detroit and the Michigan area, in San Francisco for big time wrestling. So on this date, 50 years ago today, Rufus R. Jones and Wahoo McDaniel defeated the Gene and Ole Anderson, the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, to win the Mid-Atlantic version of the NWA World Tag Team titles. See if I can find the blasted cursor here. All right, and finally, we move ahead to the year 2016. On this date in the year 2016, which was 10 years ago today. On this date, 10 years ago today, back in 2016, the OVA episode for Seven's My Wife is the Student Council President was released on this date back in 2016. So 10 years ago today, Seven's OVA episode of the anime series My Wife is the Student Council President was released on this date back 10 years ago. It was bundled with Volume 9 of the manga. So there we go with that. So with that, I do thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. We'll be back here with more Niche News tomorrow. Of course, don't forget this Sunday, I'll be joined by the Metal from the Vomitorium. You too, Natsumi. I'll be joined by the Metal from the Vomitorium, as we'll be finishing up our coverage of July 1940 comics that went on sale on that date by going through stuff from Standard, Street Smith, and United Features. So with that, thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.